Crusader Kings 3, the game I cannot shut up about, lets you rule everything from a humble petty chiefdom to a vast empire and everything in between. The game features a staggering number of kingdoms, over 175 if my count is correct. But what's really interesting is how many of those fly under the radar. Some kingdoms can only be formed through special decisions or events. These are known as titular titles. Today we'll be looking at just over 15 of them. I'll go over each one of them and then formulate a rank for them. We'll be only covering those that are player formable, don't exist in any of the game's default start dates, which eliminates Portugal, Aragon, and Rum, to name a few. With that said, let's dive into our titular kingdom ranking. First on our list of creatable kingdom titles in Crusader Kings 3 is Austria, a realm so deeply tied to the Habsburgs it practically comes with an inbred warning. Forming Austria is no simple task, with several tricky requirements. The most unique aspect is that it is dependent on another realm already existing and being under its control, the Holy Roman Empire. If the HRE hasn't been formed, you won't be able to create Austria, making it especially challenging to pull off in 867 start. Beyond that, you'll need high or absolute crown authority, which can take time to unlock if you don't have royal prerogative culture innovation. You need to be a Catholic, hold the required territories, around 2 duchies, achieve the necessary level of fame, and have 1,000 gold. Most crucially, you must also have a strong hook on the emperor, which can be one of the more frustrating steps. Once formed, the rewards are excellent. You'll become the Archduke of Austria, gain a heroic legend seed, and perhaps most importantly, you'll unlock primogeniture succession centuries ahead of time, well before it's normally available in the high medieval era. As for its ranking, I'd say Austria is a solid B. Could easily be A or S if the requirements weren't so demanding. Having to rely on existing the HRE and securing a strong hook on the emperor makes this whole process tedious, but the early access to primogeniture more than makes up for it. Next up is Baleo-Tyrrhenia, a name that is supposedly Spanish for shooting and Greek for Etruscans. So interpret that however you'd like. In terms of Crusader Kings 3, this one is the easier kingdoms to form on this list. To create it, you'll need to control the duchies of Majorca, Sardinia, Corsica, and Sicily. Oh, and you'll need to own the Fate of Iberia DLC, which at the time of this video is about $12.99. On top of that, it only takes 150 gold and around prestige to form. Pretty inexpensive. Once created, you'll unlock a striking red kingdom along with several solid perks: 350 renown, a house trait that boosts naval speed, monthly prestige, coastal advantage, and development growth, plus a 100-year claim on the entire Mediterranean coastline. Last part would be even more powerful if you could access divine right innovation, which would allow you to press multiple claims at once, swooping entire coastlines from anyone, especially the Byzantines. As for ranking, this is one clear S tier. It's simple to create in any of these 3 start dates and offers a great benefit for your dynasty, not to mention the CBs all across the Mediterranean. An easy and powerful pick. Unfortunately, you still have to pay $12.99 to get it. After that comes the Kingdom of Beme-Israel, arguably the Chile of this Indian subcontinent. It's one of the few formal kingdoms on this list that's located outside of Europe, with the only other exception being the Kingdom of Fashion, which can be formed anywhere. And the Canarias. To bring Beme-Israel into existence, you'll need to control 2 duchies on the Indian western coast and follow the Jewish faith Malabarism. Malabarism is particularly interesting. It's one of the few faiths in the game with 2 holy sites in the same county, which is wild because it allows you to build both a grand cathedral and a church in the same province. Once you've secured the faith and land, what do you actually get besides the kingdom tier title? Well, a few things. Some of your lands will be converted to Malabarism and Kochi culture, especially those around those 2 holy sites that I was talking about earlier. Kochi is a unique culture only obtained through this decision and comes with solid tradition. Most notably, diaspora culture tradition, which is unique to only Israelite heritage cultures, can only be gotten via this decision or hybridizations. I'd say this one is a solid A tier. It stands out for being a non-European and for offering some unique culture and faith mechanics. Malabarism is a dead faith, so unless you start as a custom character with it, converting to it can be a real slog. With that, we move on to Bosnia, a creatable kingdom with pretty simple formation process. All you need are 3 duchies, independence, and not to be holding a title higher than Duke. The only other requirements is that you must be out of tribal era to take the decision, which likely exists just to stop the AI from forming it too early. So what do you get from forming Bosnia? Well, aside from a kingdom title, which does have a nice little mint green color, you also gain access to a legendary seed for a heroic legend. That's about it. Some of you might disagree with this, but I'm definitely placing this one in C tier. The rewards are minimal, and it's honestly only slightly easier than just creating a custom kingdom and renaming it Bosnia. Now that we've probably annoyed all my viewers from Bosnia and Herzegovina, let's move on to one of the more ancient kingdoms on this list, the Bosporan Kingdom. Historically a Greek colony turned Roman client state, apparently one of the longest lasting ones according to Wikipedia. Forming Bosporan requires you to control the duchies of Crimea and the Azovs, be of either Central Germanic or Eastern Roman heritage, and of course have enough gold and prestige. Once formed, you'll have yourself another lovely red kingdom. Like Baleo-Tyrrhenia, you'll get a special casus belli, but this time for only the Black Sea region. The unique modifier you gain is also quite powerful. For every county you control, your taxes and development increases. It's one of the few modifiers in the game that scales like that. Now for the ranking. Baleo-Tyrrhenia got an S tier spot, so by that logic, Bosporan should too. But my logic is flawed. I'm giving it an A tier. Modifier is unique, but something about it still feels like the meme "we got Rome at home." Canarias, one of the few creatable kingdoms technically in the African region. Fun fact, they are called the Canarias because some Roman guy thought the seals and sea lions looked like dogs. And yes, the canary bird is actually named after the islands, which means they're technically the islands of the dogs' birds. But again, I digress. Forming this kingdom in Crusader Kings 3 can be one of the tricky ones on this list. You'll need to raise development to 10 in each county, which can take a while depending on your focus and how competent your steward is. The other requirements are fairly straightforward. Holding the lands, don't be tribal, can take the decision as a vassal as long as your liege is an emperor. That's a neat little twist. So what's the reward for all this effort? You get a kingdom title, a bit of prestige, and a legendary seed. The usual package. As for ranking, putting the Canarias right alongside Bosnia. They can keep each other company in C tier. We move to the British Isles for the next couple. Cornwall, a kingdom I didn't even know existed for the longest time, mostly because I rarely play as a Brythonic character. As you'd expect, it's located in Cornwall, and in Crusader Kings 3, it's one of the smallest kingdoms on this list. Though technically it can include the duchies of Wessex and Wick. For it, all you need is to own Cornwall, be Brythonic culture, and not hold a title higher than Duke. The tricky part is actually being independent and holding Cornwall, especially outside of 867. Once you meet the conditions, you cough up 300 gold, you're rewarded with a shiny kingdom title and either a unique name or a bit extra prestige. As for the ranking, Cornwall puts us in a bit of a dilemma. I've already set the precedent that small, non-modifier kingdoms go to C tier, but usually they come with a legendary seed. This one does not. So do we drop it down to D, or do we keep it in C to avoid sparking outrage? Well, I make the rules and I'm not trying to upset all my Brythonic viewers, so Cornwall, it stays in C tier. Danelaw, Daneland. I'm grouping these two together because you really can't form one without the other. This pair is one of the few in Crusader Kings 3 that comes with a unique formation mechanic, which is pretty rare for titular titles or pretty much any title. To create Danelaw, you'll need to meet several requirements: control 2 duchies, have at least distinguished fame, and not hold a title above Duke. On top of that, your culture must be in the tribal era innovations, and you must follow Austrian faith. And here's the kicker: you also need a valid opponent to negotiate with. The game doesn't exactly explain what that means, but in my experience, it likely refers to a situation where England and Danelaw are split and England can be formed by the other side, aka they have enough de jure to form England with what is left over once you form Danelaw. Once you trigger this decision, the AI technically can reject it, but in my testing, they almost never happens. As for Daneland, you just wait. Seriously, you have to reach the high medieval era, which won't happen until at least 1200, and in-game years, you must be past 1100. Once those conditions are met, you can form Daneland. It gives you the same territory as before, but without the de jure partition, meaning the title can be more easily reunited. It is a nice nod to historical conditions, but anticlimactic. Ranking Daneland is pretty straightforward. It's a cool mechanic that reflects real historical events, but in practice, it's kind of tedious. You could honestly conquer half the world faster than waiting for Daneland to unlock. D tier. The Kingdom of Fashion is one of the strangest titles in Crusader Kings 3. The requirements are simple. You need the Royal Court DLC, which will run you about $30, be a king at peace, and have a level 4 fashion amenities at your court. After that, it all comes down to luck. The title can only be gained through introducing new fashion at court. This event triggers at most every 5 years. Depending on your character's lifespan, you might not even get more than a handful of chances, so there's a good chance you'll never see it. But if luck is on your side, you'll be rewarded with a unique purple kingdom title featuring a peacock as its sigil. What makes it even more unusual is that its title is destroyed upon the death of the character who received it. That means it's the only kingdom in the game that actually can downgrade your heir. It's a weird and whimsical title, but for the sheer uniqueness, the Kingdom of Fashion earns a solid A. I'm gonna get put on a list for this one, but Israel is a kingdom title that can be formed in Crusader Kings 3. Your faith must be one of the 7 Jewish faiths that are in the game, control all the lands that make up the title of Jerusalem, and convert it to your chosen faith. Once done, you'll be able to take the decision, which gives a title and a 33% chance to convert each owned county to your character's faith and culture. Ranking wise, we'll put Israel in its own rank at the bottom here. Definitely going on a list now. Livonia is one of the few titles on this list that I've personally never formed. It's actually pretty straightforward to create. You need to control 3 duchies of Galenius, Courland, Livonia. If you also control Estonia, you can fold it in as well. Catch is that your culture must be Baltic heritage and follow the Vidalist faith to take the decision. Once formed, you'll be granted a sleek purple Livonian title. Even better, if your culture doesn't already have longship innovations, you'll gain it automatically. That's a solid bonus if you're still tribals, since it lets you navigate major rivers and raid overseas, giving you access to the full Viking raiding experience. Originally, I would have put Livonia as a C tier alongside its fellows there, but the longship bonus bumps it up to a B in my book. Speaking of raiding, this next kingdom is hands down the raiding capital of the game, Mann and the Isles. While its requirements are simple, pulling them off can take some effort. You'll need the Northern Lords DLC, currently going for, what is Northern Lords going for? $12.99. Be of Northern Germanic or Norman culture, a Viking, and a living legend, which, let's be honest, is a real pain to achieve. Oh, and you can't be above Duke rank and must hold the Isle of Man. But the rewards, absolutely unmatched. First off, you automatically switch to feudalism, and so do any of your tribal vassals you might have. And the nearby Isles duchy you hold gets added into your de jure. Then you get a whopping 7,500 event troops, including levies, Jomsviking, Bondi, and Varangian veterans. On top of that, 2 powerful modifiers that last 100 years. Legacy of Piracy lets you raid and travel through major rivers, increasing raid speed and reducing embarkation costs. And Stolen City slashes the building construction time by 200%, which means that a 3-year project usually gets done in about 3 months, or a 5-year project gets done in about 6 months. Your realm builds up super fast. Honestly, Man of the Isles isn't just a kingdom, it's the best title on the entire list, and it's not even close. S tier. Naples is a unique southern Italian kingdom that can only be formed under specific conditions. Your character needs to be of Latin heritage, hold the Kingdom of Sicily, and have at least 10 learning, plus being feudal. On top of that, you'll need 1,500 gold to take the decision to empower the Sicilian parliament. The easiest path, start as Duke Robert the Fox in 1066. He begins with most of the required territory and can start the rest really quickly due to his strong claims. Need to culture convert to Sicilian, but once you've secured that land and saved up the gold, you can form this stylish and rare kingdom. But wait, there's more. To the south lies a bonus kingdom, Trinacria. That's what this decision feels like. A 2-for-1 kingdom deal. You also get a unique parliament building, which provides 1 gold, prestige, and development growth. Alongside a powerful modifier. And a final bonus, your crown authority is increased by 1, which if you time it correctly, can be a really big boost. Altogether, this title gives you a free special building, a strong realm-wide modifier, an extra kingdom, and free crown authority bump. Without a doubt, Naples earns an A tier rank. Switzerland is one of those hidden kingdoms you probably wouldn't even know existed in CK3, unless you stumbled across it on the wiki or just happened to control these 2 duchies, while being Central Germanic in culture. If you're aiming for a larger Swiss realm, you can also bring Savoy. It will add to your kingdom's de jure territory. But here's a catch. Do not take the expand duchy decision beforehand. Doing so will completely lock you out of forming the kingdom. So what is your richly rewards? For starters, you get a kingdom title. Always classic, we love it. A charming little pink one, and alongside it, a heroic legend, useless. And most importantly, absolute crown authority. The last one is game changer, especially if you're starting in the earlier bookmarks when Crown Authority is hard to come by. The title and heroic legend are here, but the real value is the absolute Crown Authority. Easily one of the most powerful boons you can get from this decision. Last but not least, we have Toledo, another kingdom title locked behind a DLC. Honestly, putting this list together made me realize just how many of these unique kingdoms required paid content. You'd think Paradox might toss a few more of these into the base game. So how do you form this one? You'll need to be of Mozarabic faith, have the Iberian heritage, and hold a full control over the Duchy of Toledo and at least one adjacent duchy. The final de jure territory can include one of the 7 duchies, but realistically only Badajoz, Cordoba, Murcia, and Valencia are actually convertible. Personally, I would recommend Cordoba. It has a special building you can construct. Once you take the decision, you get the kingdom title of Toledo, some prestige, and 10 years of development boost modifiers across your counties. Ranking B. It's rare, the color is nice, and there's some good flavor. Being honest, if it didn't look cool, I'd probably drop it down to a C. And there you have it. 15 out of 15 kingdoms ranked and slotted into place without anyone getting mad, right? What's that? You didn't like that kingdom fashion being ranked that high? Or thought I was too harsh on the Danelaw Daneland? Well, tough luck. I made the list, and in my opinion, it's flawless. It could actually be a fun challenge to conquer and create all of these in a single campaign. You'd need to juggle culture and faith, sure, but I think it's doable, especially now that you can hop around the map as an adventurer more easily. Wouldn't it be wild if somebody had already done that? I was supposed to start that run, but you know, a few too many EU4 achievements left to snag before EU5 drops. Let me know how you would have ranked the kingdoms down below in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. And if you want to support us even more, check out our Patreon. There's a couple hours worth of bonus content waiting for you, and your name will pop up on the stream and end of videos, which is coming up right now. Have a good rest of your day. Ciao.